you.
Well, good evening and welcome to Tiger Talk on to Hull and Back podcast and here on Humble Wave Radio. You'll have with me, Aidy Wright. I'm here until 8 o'clock. I've got with me tonight Jan. Good evening, Jan.
Good evening.
Still in sunny Tenerife, is it you're at?
Yeah, indeed.
Oh,
till tomorrow night. Home for the Brewer game.
Somebody is very lucky there. Good evening to you, Chris.
Good evening.
How's you, Chris?
I'm good. I'm not in Tenerife, but I'm all right.
I was going to say, you don't look like you're in Tenerife either. James,
No.
Are you in Magaluf?
Unfortunately not. I wish I was.
No, you do. You really do.
James is live from Hull as well. James, is it?
That's right, yeah.
Yeah, we're all lucky. I'm from
Sunny
Hull. Jan's the only ones who's in tropical climes, and you can tell it's nice and warm across there. We've all got our jumpers on, our heated on, and Jan's just lapping up the sunshine and the nice warmth of Tenerife.
Sat on the balcony outside, yeah.
Well, that's commitment, people. Is Jan coming on tonight and actually being in Tenerife and coming on to the show? So committed as ever. Thanks for coming on, Jan. It's good to have you along. And obviously, we're talking about a win on Saturday, early kickoff against Stoke City. It was a bit of a game of two halves, Jan.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, as I said to you before we came on live, we can't keep doing this. We you know, it was great, and it's great at the end. You come back and you score that late, and you're absolutely euphoric. But actually, that first half was woeful, and to beat them and then to lose. When you think about that, the defeat at QPR, that got me more riled up as well. But no, onwards. Let's see what we do on Friday night.
That's definitely it. And it was, the first half was absolutely terrible. And I thought, what are we doing here? And, you know, what's going on? But, you know, as you said off air, Jan, it's that thing of like, if you can get a win late in the game like we did, it's always the best feeling, isn't it?
It is, and it's absolutely awful if you're on the other end of it. So, like last night, we watched the Ipswich game, and we were willing Blackburn to win. And that little bit, you know, and that was us last season, wasn't it? We always conceded at the end. So, you know, it is, but it actually masked how bad we were in the first half. It was awful.
Yeah, I don't know why I mean, I think that obviously, you know, a bit of a change at half-time, that made a difference. And, you know, you're sort of looking and thinking, how can they play and not be, you know, closing down? Didn't look that interested, did they, in the first half at all? It just and I don't know how you can not look interested. Is it that 3 games in a week thing, Chris?
I mean, there'll obviously be a player fatigue. You don't know if it has an impact on concentration levels. But I think the saving grace for us is you're playing that bad and you're hanging on to, you know, 1 goal, whereas played that bad away at Bristol and it was 3-4 goals, wasn't it, by half-time?
Yeah.
So we are riding our luck a bit. Maybe it's luck, maybe it's, you know, a resilience from the team. So although they're not playing great attacking football, defensively they're, you know, they're kind of keeping a tight ship. And then luckily we're doing it in the second half. And like Jan said, I'd sooner do it that way. I'd sooner be, if we can be poor in the first half and only be leading by a goal, or like it was a few weeks ago where it was 0-0, and then you go and win. Again, I'd sooner it be that than the other way around, where we have a great first half but only leading 1-0 and you go and lose 2-1, 3-1 because the other team are better in the second. So yeah, if we're picking up points, you've got to forget what's in the past and concentrate on the now and what's in front.
You certainly have. Keep your comments coming in. There's lots of comments coming in. If you want to comment on tonight's show, you can do on WhatsApp on 01482 772 663. You can also do that on whatever particular format you're watching us on, whether that's Facebook, YouTube, or X. I'll put some of your comments up before I come to James. Joffy again says, Owen, yes, it was definitely a great goal by Joffy, and he's on fire. His worth is going up by the game. It's not about how you start, it's how you finish, says Louise, and that is true. And it's nice when it happens like that, but we've also been on the other end of it, and it's more frustrating when you're on the other end of it. Definitely a game of both games. Fair play to, I think both halves is what we'll say. Fair play to City for sticking to it and showing the fight. Just need to get full 90 minutes performance, onwards and upwards. And I think it's time for Balumi to start. Balumi did make a difference on Saturday, I've got to say, involved in both goals, and that's good to see. And you said before we came on, Jan, we need to get a performance for 90 minutes. So it's fair comment, is that? Football's about moments, and we create good moments. Is what Sarah says. Sorry, it is right, Sarah. Yeah, good moments. There was some good moments. I have enjoyed this season more, even though we've had a couple of games where we've been a little bit, under the cosh, let's say. But it has been good. James is back with us. We'll go to James in a minute. Also, Lee Walker says we could have been 3 or 4-0 down at half time. You are exactly right there, Lee. I was happy with 1-0, to be quite honest with you, at half time. When we got that goal back, I thought, 1-1 will do me. I'm really happy with that, to be quite honest with you. It was good. Over to you then, James. What did you think about Saturday's game?
I don't know. It's obviously the second half was really good. From what you've all said, you kind of covered most of the points. It's just like the penalty shout in the first half. I'm almost thinking, would we have been able to get into the game a little bit more, whether or not that had gone our way?
It's a fair point, that, James. It's a fair point, because I think it was a penalty.
It was.
Yeah, it 100% was a penalty, and I think that a bit of the linesman bottling it there, to be honest with you. Because I think he had a clearer view of it than what the ref did, and you can see the player didn't get any of the ball, so it's definitely a penalty. But it happens in football. We've not had a penalty this season, have we? So it's a little bit weird at the moment. I think we've not really had any luck with them this year, but it is what it is. I thought Panda really kind of bailed us out sort of in the first half. He had a really good first half. I think he's made Team of the Week this week, hasn't he? So I thought that was really well deserved on that performance on Stoke as well. I'm a little bit gutted, to be honest, that we didn't manage to get the Sorba Thomas deal over the line last January, because it was just, you can just see the level of quality he's got. If scoring that kind of goal, it was an absolutely wonderful goal. And it'd be great to have seen him in a City shirt. But, we was fortunate to come out the other end of the first half with only one goal. And then I thought we was by far the dominant side in the second half, to be honest with you. Stoke had their moments, but defensively from the lads, it was a lot better. And I actually really liked the Egan Ajayi pairing as well. I thought that gave us quite a nice bit of level-headedness and experience at the back, which I don't want to dunk on Hughes at all, because obviously he was only out because he had a knock and he's obviously waiting for his scan. But I do feel like at times we can have sort of erratic performances from him. So it was nice to kind of have two solid, experienced centre halves there that kind of could keep the game under control.
I thought it worked well, to be quite honest with you. I agree with you. I did like the partnership there, and I think, although we learned afterwards that Hughes was out because of a knock, I could have seen, him being dropped for that game as well because of performances that he's had. And I don't think it was a bad thing. And I think sometimes, we can look at it and it could be good management if you take him out the firing line, because he's a young lad. He's played lots of games for us. There's a lot of pressure in this league. And there's some really good strikers, and to take him out the firing line wouldn't be a bad thing. I think I was a little bit, when he took Giles off, I'm like, why has he done that? But then after that, I can see why, because I thought, do we say Fanwo?
Mayo.
Mayo, there we go.
Yeah.
For Mayo, I thought he came on and had a great game when he came on, to be quite honest with you. So I think, it was the right thing to do at that point because, ultimately, well, 1-1 would have took anyway because it's away from home and we needed to get back to getting some points on the board. But, I think that at that point he did the right thing and that was good management. As I say, I think to take Hughes out, maybe he does the same on Friday night. He starts with Ajayi and Egan because, Hughes is obviously not fully fit. And I don't think it'd be a bad thing to do on Friday night. What do you think to that, Jan?
Well, he said tonight, didn't he? I listened to him his interview tonight, and he did say he's fit. But I think you start with the pairing with the centre back pairing that started on Saturday. I think it was good, and I absolutely agree. Get him out the firing line. I've said he does make mistakes. He is erratic, but he's a young lad, so just get him out of there. I mean, I felt for. When I saw the team, I said to Johnny, "Yeah, there's no press. Who's going to press them?" And that was the difference as well. I mean, when you dropped Crooks back a bit, and you brought Joseph on, and you brought Lundstrom on, it just changed the game altogether, didn't it? The press and everything. You didn't hear about Sorba Thomas in the second half at all. And I have to say, even the biggest Kyle haters, you cannot criticise that foul was outstanding. I mean that tackle was outstanding. It was superbly timed and everything. And I'm a Kyle fan. I'm a Kyle fan anyway, so I mean
it was a really good tackle by the captain. He did really well there. I really enjoyed it, and it was nice to see him do that. And I'm with you, Jan. I get what you're saying there, and I think for me, it probably showed Saturday Joseph's worth on the team. What do you think, James?
Yeah, I felt like we definitely missed him in the first half. That was a big part of kind of why it was so easy for him to get down that wing, I think. I just think, there's some games he's definitely better suited to, but I like the fact that when Joseph is on the pitch, he gives Giles depend on Joseph to be able to cover him while he bombs forward and tries to put balls into the box.
Yeah,
you don't get that same cover from what's his name?
Ndala.
Yeah, he doesn't do the same job that Joseph does. So I think it really stifles us going forward to that extent. And especially when you're starting Destan as well, you need for him to get any service, you need Giles putting balls into the box realistically. And I do really think we miss him when he doesn't play. But I would just prefer if we are going to play him, he plays in that position because I think he takes a sting out of our attack when he plays in the number 9. That's my only criticism of him.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think he on the wing he played really well, and I saw he put a challenge in on the edge of the box in the second half. Obviously, he'd come on. He put a challenge in on the edge of the box, and we break forward from that challenge. And it was just little things like that sort of said to me, yeah, I can see, why Sergei's continuing with Joseph all the time. What's your thoughts on that, Chris?
Yeah, I agree with James's points. I think there's certain games where it suits him more, but his energy, his pressing, he offers something different to Ndala and also different to Miller if we're looking at him playing on the wing. But I think the biggest point is that he's not the goal threat like that McBurney is, obviously. And I think when McBurney's back, if he's playing up top, because he's got that energy and that press in him, having him in the 9, you don't necessarily need Joseph there then. So it could be Miller, it could be Ndala. But certainly if it was Destan up top who doesn't have the pace, then yeah, Joseph just sort of balances it out a bit. Because obviously you're getting it from Joffrey or Balumi who's on the right. But yeah, so there's definitely a place for him and it'll work with the right rotations. Like I said, I also liked it when there was McBurney and Joseph, because Joseph would come inside, wouldn't he, and plays like a second number 9 or a false 9, and then Gilo would bomb forward, and we have that whoever's the holding midfielder drop and help out the centre back. So it works when it's all working, but yeah, we definitely miss his tenacity if we haven't got anybody else up top with the pace and energy that he has.
Yeah, McBurney may be back this Friday night. We'll talk about that in a little while. It'd be silly not to talk about it, but we'll talk about it in a little while. We're not going to talk about it yet because we're still on with this Stoke game. Sergei showed his excellent in-game management once again with the substitutions he made. The energy of Bellumi and Joseph helped to pin Stoke back, and Lundstrom brought his Housery skills. That's a great one. I'm glad it didn't say the other word before it. It brought the skills to great use. It certainly did. We'll go to another couple of comments because there was some sour grapes from some of the Stoke fans after the game on Saturday, including some who targeted City fans online, including himself. I did see a comment, Lee, not Mike's comments, and it's just Stoke were bad losers, as Louise says, and that's the truth. There was a little bit of handbags at the end of that game, and it was sort of Lundstrom who got on going a little bit, hadn't he, by shushing them at the end, which I don't mind seeing. Do you, Jan?
I don't know. I think they need to grow up. If that's £25,000 fine and for the Birmingham game, what we're going to get for that then? I just think they need to grow up a bit. I mean, we go to every away game, barring that one, and some of the behaviour of the fans and our fans, to be fair, they're like little kids. It's obviously fuelled by drink, and they just need to grow up for me. I mean, I hope the players have to pay this fine and the club doesn't. But
I'm different to you, Jan. I like it. I like a little bit this season because I think there's been seasons where we've been those, look at us, we're really well behaved. We're going to get the points from the
I'm not
league.
saying we shouldn't.
And what I want, Jan, is I'd rather us get that £25,000 fine and be a little bit more like we are being at the moment because, we've been silly and not been clever enough when it comes to this gamesmanship in the past, so I'm quite happy with it.
I have no issue with gamesmanship during the game. This was at the end of the game, and he went over to the Stoke fans, and I just think, grow up.
Well, they give him a lot of hassle on the way, and so if they give him,
I'll tell you what, if I was paid what he is a week, you could give me all the hassle you wanted in the world.
What's your thoughts, Chris?
Similar to you, Adi, I like a bit of fight, and I'm more than happy for the players to back each other and stand by each other's side when handbags come out. After the game, I can understand the players jumping in. The situation reminded me of, I don't know if it was last year or the year before, must have been the year before because Leicester was promoted. So 2 years ago when we played Leicester at home and we were singing certain songs about Jamie Vardy's wife. And when he scored both of his goals, he celebrated in front of our fans. The difference is none of our players tried to get in his face was it Nzonzi did to Lundstrom? Yeah. And let him get away with it until the referee said that's enough. Yeah. So I don't mind. It's a late winner. Tensions are high. John Lundstrom giving it that. Because, the fans were getting on him. When Nzonzi comes in, which... does he or doesn't he have a right to? I don't know. I can understand the players in and around that vicinity getting involved, trying to separate it. You don't need our goalkeeper running from the other end of the pitch and a few others. And I get it with the players, but why are our whole bench going and getting involved as well? Because again, they've run from the halfway line. So the players in that immediate vicinity try and calm it down, get in the way. They've all said in the interviews afterwards, no one's ever going to throw a punch because they know what the repercussions would be. So, I don't mind seeing a little bit of it. Like I say, during the game, the players have just got to take all the stick if they score a goal or at the end of the game, give a little bit back without going over the top. But you don't need players running from the other side of the pitch and dugouts getting cleared to get 40 people involved in a melee. I think that's when it goes a bit too far.
I'll tell you what,
sorry.
On that 1 to 11, if somebody had to stick up for me, I wouldn't be wanting it to be either Panda. I'd choose Crooks or somebody like that. I wouldn't be wanting him to run the length of the pitch to stick up for me. I'd probably be better on my own.
Sarah says it's football, as Sega would say. I think she put it to an earlier comment, but it works just as well on this bit as well. Louise says, I don't mind it, and I don't think Sergey does either. I agree. The handbags led to a brilliant photo with Coyle's face on it. It was really good, that photo. I've seen it doctored into like an old war scene, which was really clever. So things that people can do on Photoshop these days absolutely amazes me, but it worked really well. And it was nice to get that win at the end of the game, and another good goal by Joffrey. And there's all this talk about Joffrey and whether we could keep him, whether Leeds sack the manager and he goes back there. It's desperate that we keep him, James, isn't it?
Really desperate, really desperate. I think he stepped up to the plate, hasn't he, when we've lost McBurney. And his goals this season, I mean, they've won us so many points. I mean, I think I saw a statistic that said he'd scored 5 of our winning goals in away games. Wow. I don't think we've won 5 away games, but it's 5 of our winning goals, anyways. So even his value obviously will be going up. I think the difficult decision here for Leeds will be that, well, he's scoring at this level. Will he be able to score any goals if we decide to recall him from the loan? But all the indications around the club are suggesting that, in actual fact, they don't have any intention of recalling him, because he seems pretty settled where he is. And if he continues to have the season like he is having, all it's going to do is make his value keep going up and up and up. Yeah. Whether or not that means we'll even be able to afford him in the summer, that's another question. I don't think we probably will be able to, because, I mean, supposedly they had an asking price of £8 million on him this summer just gone. And obviously, this is the best season he's probably had today. He's only a 23-year-old. So I think
he has a say, though, doesn't he? Because I asked him that. He sat with us at the Meet the Player event, and I asked him that, at the end of the season when he goes back, who is it up to where you go? And he said, me.
I suppose, yeah, but it depends who fronts up the money, though, as well, doesn't it? And can we afford to spend £10 million plus on a player like Joffrey?
James, what you've got to remember is any club can bid any amount of money, and that Leeds can accept any bids and then say, we will allow you to go and have talks with that other club. If he does not agree personal terms, he doesn't leave.
No, I'm not saying that he doesn't necessarily go to another club. What I'm saying is, have we got the money to actually be able to afford him? Is my whole point. Is he might want to come back.
I think that question comes in obviously next summer, doesn't it? And it depends, obviously, because we haven't been able to spend anything for 2 transfer windows. That will help us going forward, won't it? As long as the club is seen to have money, and I think through some of the share options that's been done, it's shown that the club has some money now, doesn't it? Rather than how it was operating before this. I'm not massive financial, back. I don't know all this financial stuff, but for me, the reason that he did this share option was to show that the money had some club, showed the club had some money behind it, so that we aren't in this problem, when it comes to the transfer window in the summer, where we can actually do something. And Joffrey, if he's 8.5 million or 10 million quid, for how he's fitted into the team, for how he likes to play and how he likes the players round him, if you can keep those players round him as well, then for me, it's a no-brainer, Jan.
No, I agree with you. I'm not sure we have got the money, but I mean, I do trust what Baz Cooper says, and he was saying on Monday that we are sailing so close to the FFP, that at the minute there's no wiggle room. So I don't know.
Surely that's got to change, hasn't it? Because if you've had 2 transfer windows where you've not spent any money, you're allowed a 40-something million pound over 3 seasons, aren't you?
I genuinely.
Is it 43 million pounds over 3 seasons? So if we haven't spent anything for 2 transfer windows, I can't see how we are that close to the FFP anymore. Surely we drop down now.
I mean, for me, it'll be probably selling Hughes, unless we do go up ourselves. It'll be selling Hughes next summer, won't it? That might.
There's all sorts of permutations to come across, isn't there? I think the main thing is trying to keep hold of Joffrey in January, and if it, as you say, Chris,
it's a really small window. He said the recall isn't for the whole of the transfer window. it said that it's in the contract. There's a really small amount of time where if they're going to recall him, they have to make the decision in. I listened to the podcast yesterday on my sunbed.
Right. Well, that's a good thing, and let's hope they don't recall him, and let's hope that they are just after his value going up and getting some more money. I think it's good to try and keep him here, and he's played really well for us, so that's I think it's imperative we keep hold of him, to quite honest with you. A couple of things here. Has Leicester got a points deduction? I've not seen that. Has anybody else seen it?
Not that I've seen.
I remember at the beginning of the season there was talk about it, but I think it takes time to go through the process, doesn't it? So it could happen, apparently.
And Marshy said that he thinks Jan's getting confused with the wages for this window where we're close to the FFP. It's not the amount of money that we can spend on buying.
I absolutely hope that's right. Yeah, absolutely. But again,
and I think that's why we haven't been able to sign anybody at the moment, innit? Because we do have a loan space available, but because we're that close, we need somebody to go out. So it's somebody like Casey Palmer to go out in January would free up enough wages for us to have.
Tonight, when you listen to him, he was talking about. It didn't sound to me as though he was keen on keeping Brandon Williams. I mean, I might have misinterpreted.
No, I've seen some about.
Yeah.
Yeah, they said that Brandon, for anybody that's not seen it or heard it, they said basically that Brandon Williams isn't getting up to the speed of the Championship and may have to go out somewhere to get some game time to try and get him up to the speed of the Championship, which, he's only been on the bench a couple of times. He's I've heard comments from the 21s where he doesn't seem as though he's quite there for the 21s either, so it might be that case of him going somewhere to try and get some game time because, I'm sure there must be a player in there because you don't come through Man United to not be a player. I'm sure there's got to be a player in there, and hopefully we might benefit from, him going out. I don't know. It's a strange one, that one. And I understand why they signed him, to be quite honest, because it was very short on bodies at the time. And, they probably got a reasonable deal on it, but, he's not done anything at the moment, has he? So yeah, we'll have to see. And that's a good question. I like that question. That's coming from Sarah. What is Sergei's plans with James Fairlong? Because he just seems to have been one of the forgotten men, doesn't he, at the moment, does James Fairlong, but he's still with us. So it'd be interesting to know what the plans are. Has anybody heard about James Fairlong?
I know he's out of contract at the end of the year, and I think we've got a +1 on him, but apparently he's picked up an injury again, or part of his recovery, he had a relapse, but he's training with the first team, but he's another one of them. It's like the Brandon Williams. They're our two sort of backup left backs, both out of contract at the end of the year. None of them seem to fit in. So from what I can gather, there's either a chance to sell him or get him out on loan for the second half of the season. But if they both go, I know Coyle and Drame have played there before, but you've only got for Mayweather.
Yeah, but he's a centre back, isn't he? He's not really a left back.
But he has. I mean, Sergei did say that he can play left or he can play left centre, so he can do either of those things. And I've not. Every time he's come on at left back, I've not minded him, to be quite honest with you. I thought he's been all right. It's a similar situation to when you was playing Sean McLaughlin at left back. I think you get something different out of him. Yes, you don't get the attacking threat, but that allows other players to attack more because you've got him on. So I don't mind that, and I might be in the minority, and if I am, then I am. But that's I don't mind it, to be quite honest with you. We've all gone quiet. No, nobody's disagreeing with me. They all agree. Look how well Bairstow is doing out on loan. It will do Williams good, says Louise. I agree with you, Louise. I think it could. And then Shep says he's seen that Sergei said he might sell Williams. It'd be good if we could get some money. Really would be good. Let me tell you. Get another one off the wage bill. That'd be good as well, because that's where we're lacking at the moment, and we could probably do with a little bit of just a bit more strength in depth when we have these injuries, because we've seen when we've had like McBurney, Miller, Balumi, all those players that are out, the strength in depth has not quite been there, Chris.
No, it's not. I think January is going to be interesting. I think there'll be a few players go. There's fringe players, whether the people have been carrying injuries and not getting games, or people that it just doesn't fancy. And then obviously bring those wages in, and I think that is where we're playing with. My understanding is that we were given a wage cap as part of the punishment. So financial fair play is around spending. You're right, AD. It's so much of a rolling 3 years. So if we haven't spent anything this year, the problem is the 2 years before we have spent, haven't we? We've had a turnover of roughly 16 players each summer window. So it will all depend on what that 3 years ago was that drops off. Obviously, you've got a clean bill of health for this year that will be in the next 3 rolling years. But yeah, the punishment was we was given a wage cap, so it wasn't a player squad amount. We was only allowed up to 23 players. We was allowed to spend X amount of money, and that's where we're sailing close to the wind. So for every pound we get off that, it's money that we can spend on other salaries. So yeah, like you say, if you get 1 or 2 of the higher earners off, it might get 2 or 3 loan players, young players from other Premiership clubs, for example, on a low wage that you can bring in and strengthen. So that's my understanding of it. But yeah, in January, I think we are going to see 2, maybe 3 players go, whether on loan or sold, and that'll give us some opportunity to bring people in on loan if we can get them.
Yeah, Lee Walker says that the likes of Vaughan, etc., will move on in January. I agree. I liked Harry Vaughan, and I'm gutted that it didn't work out for him how I wanted it to. But I think there's too many players ahead of him now in the in the firing line. They're ahead of him. He's definitely probably going to go out in January. I agree with what you say there, to be quite honest with you. Another one that you liked, Jan, isn't he?
Well, Harry Vaughan, I did, yeah. I mean, because he's got that pace and he gets stuck in, and I kind of like that kind of player. But I absolutely agree with you. There's several players in front of him, and it's not fair to him to hold him back, is it?
No, I don't think so.
No.
James?
Yeah, no, I liked him. I think the highlight that I can remember of him was he left a bit in on a tackle on Ben Doak when we played against Middlesbrough last time. I think we saw him.
Yeah.
Like I say, he had a lot of passion and drive about him. He was a good little feisty player on the pitch, but like you said, there's no point holding him back if he's not going to get in the team anymore, is it?
No, definitely not. And that's the thing with January. It's about trying to move a few of those players on, trying to get, as you said, pounds off the wage bill, and trying to be able to free up a little bit to spend, Chris. That'd be really good. On to Friday night game under the lights at the MKM Stadium. Another tough one. We say this every week, don't we? But I don't think there's any easy games in the Championship, but this is definitely a tough game for us. It's a team that we don't have a good record against, so not easy for us. I'll come to you first, Chris.
Yeah, I mean, are they back up to second now after the win against Derby?
Back up to second, yes, they are.
After we beat Stoke, yeah. So, I mean, they're always in and around, in recent history, they're always in and around that sort of playoff positions, aren't they? Even last year under Carrick, when they dropped off a little bit, they're still sort of, I think they finished, 8th or 9th. So, yeah, they've got a good squad with depth. I don't know what their injury situation is, but they've got some dangerous players. Is it Whittaker, the winger, and he can play at 10 as well? I think he's scored quite a few goals recently, so he's going to be one to watch. There's a few dangerous players, and I think it's got the making of another one of those basketball games, hasn't it, where it's up and down and both teams going at each other. But I think if we can balance our defensive side a bit more, aim for that clean sheet, I think we can scrape it.
Well, I'd definitely take that, Chris, and it'd be nice, wouldn't it, Jan, if we could take that? I mean, you're flying back from Tenerife tomorrow, especially really just to get back for this Middlesbrough game on Friday night at the MKM Stadium. I'd have stayed in Tenerife and watched it on the telly, but you're coming back for it, Jan, so what's your thoughts?
Well, I agree with what's just been said. They're one of our teams that, but even when we go there, you go because you do, and you're going to get beaten, and it's going to be a tough game, a really tough game. You just know Alfie Jones is going to play out of his skin as well, don't you?
You do, yeah, you definitely do. And I think it's Sarah said she'd take a point at take a point against Middlesbrough straight away. I'd take a point for
I think it's a
definite.
shame that listening to him tonight, it looks as though there won't be any McBurney. I think that would have made a difference because I just think defensively we're better when he plays as well because he's just got that experience, hasn't he? And he holds the ball up. So whilst we might have Miller back and we'll probably have Lunny back, it's going to be Wrexham, he said, for McBurney, didn't he? So
Yeah, listen, I think you've got to manage McBurney because ultimately he could play a big part in our season as long as we're managing right, and there's no point in getting that management wrong as much as he might want to start to play as a club and as a coaching staff and a fitness staff. You've got to make sure that you bring him back in at the right time and not the wrong time because we don't want. I know he's not had the same injuries as what Balumi and Miller have had, but you don't want him coming back and then being out for another 6 or 7 games. You want to try and get him in and actually make a difference. And, hoping that Lunny can do the same because when Lunny came on the pitch on Saturday, he made a difference, James, didn't he?
Yeah, he gave us much needed control in the midfield, which I think we've been lacking. I mean, Crooks does offer us that when he plays there, but I do think like JB, I think recently, I mean, when he'd been coming on as a substitute, I think he'd been playing quite well, but since he's been starting, and I mean, Slater had a really poor start to the game on Saturday as well, I thought. Yeah. So we lost a lot of control in the midfield, and that was what kind of, I think, give Stoke that dominant edge. And I think Middlesbrough have got a very similar situation where they've got a really strong midfield. They've got Hackney. I think it's Morris and Hackney, their midfield duo that's kind of, they're known for controlling games, but they're just a little bit impotent in front of goal, which has kind of been Middlesbrough's downfall this season. Like you said, it would have been really good for us to unlock them, having McBurney back, even if it was kind of, as an impact sub coming off the bench. But as I say, we've waited this long for him. We don't want to rush him back. And it, as you already said, it'd take, a while for him to come back if he gets injured immediately again. I do just think.
We're hoping he comes back in a sec. He's done this before and it's worked before.
Yeah.
There you go. He's back again.
The internet's been a little bit dipping in and out tonight. I don't know what's going on with it.
Yeah, carry on, James.
So, yeah, it's... I'd be gutted not to have McBurney back, but it's good not to rush him back. I think we've got every chance of winning the game. I really do. I think at the end of the day, all we really need to do is just play our game, take it to them, and with Lundstram in the midfield, he'll definitely be breaking up the play a lot better. So I think he's going to give us what we've been lacking. I think I said before, anyways, Lundstram was a missing piece for me in this team, and I think we're going to play a lot better with him in it.
Let's come to a couple of the comments. Lee said it's going to be a tough game on Friday night. Fans need to get the atmosphere going on Friday, and that is a thing. It's really difficult. It always seems to be difficult at the MKM to get the atmosphere going, but I think most home teams find the same as us. The away fans are always louder, and Middlesbrough definitely has sold out their allocations, so that's definitely going to be something that needs to be going, and the fans need to drive that, really. Oliver says, who does everyone think are the best option as the 2 sitters in front of the back 4? Lundstram and Slater are his personal choices at the moment. Probably can't argue with that. I mean, Lundstram, the only thing with Lundstram is because he's just come back from injury, will he start the game? I'm not sure, to be quite honest with you. But, it's, as you said earlier, I wasn't impressed with Darko. I thought that Darko's been okay coming on, but I haven't been impressed with him starting the game, to be quite honest with you. He just doesn't seem to have the same. I don't know. There's just something not right there when he starts the game to when he comes on and actually plays in as a sub appearance. So yeah, I can see that. I just think that Lundstram, because he's been out for a while, it's a little bit of a risk again. What do you think, Jan?
I'd play him and Slater. I agree. I just can't see. I mean, Amir, I'm going to try and say Hazimatovic, but I just think.
There you go. That was good. That
was it. All right. Was it close?
Yeah, I thought so. Yeah.
I mean, he's a bit slow, isn't he? And I still don't think he's up to speed with the championship. I think so. So I would have them 2, and I'd have Crooks. And I
Yeah.
think Crooks was better on Saturday when he dropped back a bit as well. I mean,
Yeah, it was.
when I-
It was.
that word that begins with shirt, he's the one into he mixes it a bit, doesn't he? And they're the ones I'd have across the middle. Yeah.
Yeah, Chris.
Yeah, I've said it before. I think when it was Lundstrom and Amir, no legs. Lundstrom offers that control, the experience, and Slater's got the legs to get up and down. So for me, it'd be them two. The question for me is, after Christmas, when Matazo's back, is it then you've got a real fight and some real quality in that midfield between them three, I think.
Matazo's only going to last a couple of games before getting injured, though, Chris.
Yeah.
Potentially, touch wood, hopefully it doesn't. But, you would kind of maybe expect them to have for him to have a similar, come back, a couple of, appearances, trying to manage his minutes, but more than likely he's going to pick up a little niggle, the same as Lundstrom and Bellumi did. But hopefully we'll have him for the, back end of the season after that. But him and Lundstrom, it whets your appetite, doesn't it?
Certainly does.
Between them three, we've got a great couple of players to rotate between them two holding midfielders.
Enshep says he thinks we'll look better with Egan and Ajayi as a pairing. I said last week about pairing them two. Their experience showed versus Stoke. I've got to agree with Enshep there. I think it'd definitely be my starting pairing on Friday night, just as well, because as you say, it's been said before, Ajayi's going to the Africa Cup of Nations, and we might as well
get knocked out quick.
we might as well play him as much as we possibly can up until he goes, because get as much as we can out of him, and then let him go. I don't like this Africa Cup of Nations. I'm not a fan of players going out middle of the season. I understand why they do it, but it done half mess with not just championship teams, but it messes with Premier League teams as well, James.
Yeah, it does. It's difficult though, isn't it? Because I think it's the time of year which is best suited to their kind of continental tournament. And I think if it was the other way around, and we had to have the Euros in the middle of the season, I don't think anyone would be arguing with sending any of those players out to go represent their countries. It's just a difficult one, isn't it? Because
I think it's that thing, James. Of if it was that way, then you would get the mid-season break, wouldn't you? At that point, whereas there should maybe, if there is, because we're getting an awful lot of players from the continent, that they're playing in Africa, the continent. We're getting a lot of players that are playing in the Premier League and the Championship from there. Is it time that they did a mid-season break to cope with this?
But then you can make the argument that they've already tried to reduce, is it from next season, the amount of international breaks we're going to have during the season. So
they have,
adding another one into the mix there is only going to kind of add to people's frustrations with the amount of breaks we already have in the middle of the season. So,
especially with the AFCON being a month rather than just a fortnight.
Yeah.
So it's not really an easy solution to it, is there? It's like I say, it's a tough one to take, but at least this time round, obviously we lost Jean-Michael Seri last time AFCON was on, and that was a really important miss as well. Jay is going to be a big miss, but it's not like we haven't got players who can play there. So it's not, to me, it's not necessarily the end of the world. He's played really well as of late, but we can get by with Hughes and Egan and Famawo stepping up a few times as well, I think.
Enshep says they're trying to extend Jay to play against Millwall, he believes, before that he can go to the Africa Cup of Nations. So that would be good if that happened. And then we've got Sarah, who says she really likes that youngster McCarthy. Depends on who we get in the FA Cup. He'd like to see him on the pitch again. Yeah. I can see that one, and does depend who we get, I think. Are we keeping Semi for an extra few games before he flies out? There you go. Same. So Louise is asking the question that Enshep's tried to answer, to say that we're trying to keep him for the game against Millwall. Which
did you hear the interview on BBC Humberside? Mike White was talking to Sergey, and he alluded. So we thought he was going to play Middlesbrough, not Walsall, what they're called,
Wrexham.
I didn't mean of a W, and then he would potentially be going, and they were in talks to see if they could get him to stay for the Millwall game. On his interview today, he said apparently there's 2 or 3 players at Fulham and so that Nigeria have agreed for them to fly out after their weekend game, and Semi Ajayi will be on the same plane. So we'll play Millwall, and he'll fly out of Heathrow, obviously being a London airport, literally straight after the game or the day after. So he's alluded that we might have him for Millwall as well.
That's good to hear, and be good to keep him for that amount of time. We've talked a little bit about the team for Friday night. Is there any curveballs that anybody's going to throw in? We'll come to you, Jan.
No, I'd play the team. I'd play when we started with. Is this the team we finished with? But I'd have Joseph and Lundstrom in, and who else came on at half time? Who else came on? Yeah. Well, I'm not sure if he'll start him again, though. I'm still not sure whether he's managing his minutes. But yeah, and I won't have Akintola anywhere near the pitch. But never mind.
We're short on numbers, Jan. We have to have some players on the bench. So yeah, any curveballs from you, James, that you do?
No, I think the exact same team which Jan just said. I'd keep everyone the same, but just the substitutions that came on. So Lundstrom, Balumi, and Joseph, and just stick with that. I mean, the team that won us the game should be the one that starts on Friday.
Chris?
Yeah, similar. I think probably Lunny is probably more of a shoe-in to get a start over Balumi or McBurney. I'm just trying to work out in my head while Jan was talking. Since Balumi came back, how many subs appearances he had now? About 5 or 6? So he must be getting close, and he's been coming on earlier because obviously he came on at half time and got a full 45 minutes, where previously it's been 15, 20, up to 30 minutes. So he's got 45 in his legs now.
I thought on Saturday it was probably one of the better times that he'd come on. He made a difference on Saturday.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, when he first came back, it was 15 to 20 sort of minutes. He's now up to 45. Maybe they can start him, but knowing he's coming off at 55, 60 minutes, rather than trying to get the full 90 like they did with Miller, and then he broke down the game afterwards. So that might be my curveball. I think Lunny comes in, probably going to start with Joseph on the left, but I think you start Balumi and plan to take him off 10 minutes into the second half or something.
I don't think it's a bad call. I think
him a little bit more.
It's that situation of you've got to try and do your best to get as many points from the game as you can, whether that's 1 point or 3 points.
The only question, AD, if they don't start Balumi, do they move Geldart into his preferred 10 and then does Crooks drop out? Or would it be Crooks and Slater as the holders? So that's
I mean, it's hard to know, isn't it? Because I think that when you look at what Joffy's done, he plays really well on the wing as well as playing in his favoured position. And it's one. I heard Sergey talking after the game, and he said that he hadn't, and Mike who I go with, he says he hadn't really. He's one of them players that hasn't really got opposition. He's not really got opposition.
And the winning goal, he was on the left. He swapped over to the left, when Balumi came on.
Yeah, it was. He was on the left.
Maybe you play him on the left and Joseph up top, and then you get Crooks.
The thing with it is he's got to start, hasn't he?
I think he's got to start, yeah.
Jan?
I'm not sure. I'm just not sure if he'll risk him. But I have no problem.
We're talking about Geldart.
Sorry. I prefer him on the wing.
Yeah,
I do. He just seems to have more of an impact from there. But that's what I do. But who am I?
James is frozen again. I think he's like that Disney film. Yeah, he's definitely frozen at the moment. I can't. You've got your eyes shut, James. No, he's not opening them. Sorry about that, people. So let's have a look at this one. What we've got here. Enshep says, put Balumi in and put Geldart at the number 10. Put Balumi put Balumi 10 and Geldart on the right wing. That's not a bad call, to be quite honest, because Balumi can play that 10 role, can't he?
I think he has done a few times, but I think he's more effective on the wing.
Yeah,
it's just Joffy prefers to play the 10. He's said it, hasn't he? But he can play anywhere across them front four by the looks of it.
No, he certainly can, and it's good. It's good. James has said that his internet's gone now fully. Don't worry, James. It's a sad thing, but don't worry about it. You just you know, we'll see you next week if you can't get back on. But yeah, he has said that he prefers that 10 role, and it's good to have those options to have a little bit of a selection headache for Sergey, because he's not really had that for a little bit of time, Jan.
No, and I mean, and we know that he's not frightened to make changes and changes that we aren't necessarily expecting either. So I think you've got to trust the guy. I mean, one of these days it won't come off, and that's fine. But he's managing it well, and who are we to try and say otherwise? I'm more than happy.
A massive positive, like whoever does start, the bench is looking so much better now.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
And you're still going to get people coming and making an impact off the bench.
Yes, no, that's it. We do need that. We do need some extra players that can come and make an impact off the bench, because a couple of weeks ago you was looking and you was thinking, who is going to make the impact? Who can come on and make the impact? And it was a little bit light on there. Whereas to have a few players that are either nearly back or are back, that's really good for us, isn't it? So what we're thinking results wise for you then, Jan, on Friday? Rice smile from Jan's face there,
and because my heart and my head tell me different things. I mean, my head tells me we should be happy with a draw. My heart tells me we can win it. Don't ask me the score. I mean, I'll say 3-1. I always say 3-1, but my head tells me we should be happy with a draw. But we'll see.
I'd definitely be happy with a draw. What's your thoughts, Chris?
I'm the same, but sensible head. Happy with a draw. They're a team that are a bit of a bogey team for us, but yeah, just with the spirit of how things are going this season and the positivity, I think we can nick it by a single goal. So either 1-0 or 2-1.
That'd be really, really nice. Oliver says he doesn't think we can risk starting Balumi yet, so he would say Geldart, Crooks, and Joseph as the three behind the striker. And I can see what you're saying, Oliver. I really can. It's one of them where you don't want him to be injured again, because it's nice to have that strength in depth, and he did make a huge difference when he came on Saturday. So if we can have that happen again, on Friday night under the lights at the MKM Stadium, then I would take that straight away. James, as he's trying to get back on, I don't know if he'll get back on in time. We'll ask him his thoughts on what he thinks. But yeah, I'd take a 1-1 draw if I'm honest with you. I'd be happy with a 1-1 draw. I'd be happy with a 0-0 as well, although I do like a goal to be scored. And even though it's another goal against us, if we get one back, it won't make a difference to the goal difference. So I'm not that bothered, and I would like to see a couple of goals, if I'm honest, because that has been the enjoyable part about this season, as seeing a few more goals being scored, especially at the MKM Stadium, because that's where we weren't scoring goals before. So I've enjoyed that. New shirts behind you, AD, or is that just me? There is definitely some shirts behind me. I got some. I'm a tight person. That's what I've got to say on the radio. I'm a tight person, and I bought some tight cheap frames from IKEA, which was only 15 quid each. And I thought, let's have a go. And the wife framed them for me. I have got a couple more that I can do as well, but I thought, let's get a couple up behind me. And I think they look all right. I don't think they look too bad. Louise is going 2-1 to City, keeping positive. I like to hear that, Louise. So, yeah, it's good to be positive. I'm just erring on the side of caution. I'm still positive, but erring on the side of caution, which I always do. I can't do this thing where I predict we're going to win 4-1 and then we go lose 4-1, because I'd be gutted with myself if I said something stupid like that. Sarah says that she bought the retro kit on Black Friday. There was a bit of a deal, I think, on the retro kit, wasn't there, on Black Friday?
I was the green one.
I think it was, yeah. I was gutted that we didn't have enough shirts to do the usual 20% off, because I would have bought 2 shirts on Black Friday. But as it is, Hull City, I bought none from you. So take heed that, you sold no shirts to me this season up to now. You might still do if there's some left. If there isn't, then you won't. I ain't worried. So yeah, I think the shirt, for me, just a little thing on the shirts, they've been too expensive this season at 59 quid. The quality's not been good enough, and charging 59 quid for that poor quality, I think it's it's wrong, especially when you've got three shirts. I was talking on the radio earlier about the rugby league and how many shirts they have a season, because they have a shirt for Magic Weekend, they have a shirt for this, they have a shirt for that, and you're expecting your fans to spend an awful lot of money. And it's hard, isn't it? When times are tough at the moment, and to spend all that money, is difficult. Lee says that supplier issues he suspects, and I agree with you, Lee. I'm sure it is supplier issues, and but the club have lost out because of that. Anyway, we're nearly at the end of the show. We've got just over a minute left. It's good of you to have joined us all the way again from Tenerife, Jan. Enjoy your last night there. Safe journey back, and we'll have you. We'll be recording next week's because obviously next week we're playing on Wednesday night at home against Wrexham. So I'm sure that all of us will be there watching the game, but we'll record it and you'll be able to watch it back on whatever platform you watch it back on. And if you are listening on the radio or anything on the way into the game, then you'll be able to hear it because it will be going out at 7 o'clock next Wednesday, just as you're going into the game. So safe journey back for you, Jan.
Thank you very much. See you on Friday.
Thanks for coming in, and I'll see you on Friday down at the Tigers Trust Arena. Thanks to you, James. Thanks to you, James. He's not here to listen, but I'm sure he's listening on his phone or whatever. Sorry that your internet didn't hold out, James. And thanks to you, Chris, for joining us tonight.
Yep, thanks again.
We'll have a good one for you next week. We'll have a chat about this game that happens on Friday night, and we'll be previewing the game that's happening at... is it an 8 o'clock kickoff, by the way, next Wednesday, or is it 7:45?
I don't know. I haven't looked.
Nobody's looked. Right. Let's have a quick look then, and let's find out before we go. It is 8 o'clock, so yeah, it'll go out just up to kick off. We'll have a show next week, so we'll try and preview that game as well. That's got an 8 o'clock kickoff next week. If you've commented tonight, thanks very much. Lee's just said 8 o'clock. Thanks for that, Lee. You know everything when it comes to things like that.
He does.
Thanks for all your comments tonight, and we hope that you can join us next week here on Tiger Talk, on to Hull and Back Podcast, and on Humwave Radio. I've been Eddie Wright. Thanks to you, Chris. Thanks to you, Jan. Thanks to you, James. I will see you next Wednesday from 7 o'clock.
Bye.